a size business that I truly love. We earn an excellent living. With the drill results, this is comparable to a map. Australia Creek is the outcome of Sonic. There was more to Parker Schnabel than gold mining. He introduced Sloofer, a monstrous machine that ripped through the ground like a ferocious animal. However, as something much more significant simmers behind the scenes, he is now disappearing from the screen. From dirty boots to boardrooms, his journey has taken him from living in dirt camps as a child to owning a $1 million home. And it's upending everything that fans believe to be true. Pay attention because what Parker just began has the potential to ruin the gold game as we know it. The Parker Schnabel development. Let's take a little step back. Gold Rush was known as Gold Rush Alaska when it initially appeared on television. You can tell where it all began from that title alone. Only the most tenacious people could delve into frozen ground in search of gold in this harsh, frigid environment. Not everyone was able to achieve it. Parker, however, wasn't just another man with a shovel on TV. He was distinctive. He was youthful, determined, and unafraid to assume command. The Alaska portion of the show was eventually deleted, and it became just Gold Rush, broadening its scope beyond the wintry landscape. However, what followed? Let's just say it changed everything, and no one saw it coming. Gold Rush became a huge success. The drama, the competition, and the sheer tenacity required to unearth treasure captivated viewers. It showed various mining teams, the most of which were family-run, searching for gold and expecting to strike it lucky. The SL run width of this W plant is significantly greater. Therefore, that should boost our yardage and enable us to complete all of the money pit tasks that we must complete here at Dominion. Choosing an unproven strategy this late in the season is a bit of a risk. Locations ranged from deep within the state of Alaska to the Klondike region of Yukon, Canada. More exotic locations were included in later seasons, such as the South American jungle and the arid regions of Western North America. You would assume he would simply follow the formula and continue with numbers like that. However, Parker began acting differently. His appearances decreased, but he remained in Gold Rush. Fans took note. They began to inquire. What became of the main character? What happened to him? Why wasn't he as prominent as he once was? Parker wasn't quitting, was the response. He was changing. He traveled the world instead of merely mining in the same places. He was given his own spin-off program, Parker's Trail, on the Discovery Channel. It wasn't only a side endeavor. It was a whole different approach to the gold game. Comfort was not the point of this show. It was about taking a bold leap into the future, traveling to some of the most untamed locations on the planet. Parker and his team dug into mountains, deserts, and rainforests. Watchers witnessed Parker's trail as he overcame obstacles that made ordinary mining seem simple. He ventured into the deep forests, hazardous creatures, and extreme humidity of Guyana's jungles. Then he encountered Australia's scorching heat, where the sun never plays around. He followed in the footsteps of early gold seekers by walking the historic Klondike Trail. Indeed, I don't believe that working on these plants' tailings would be a full-time employment. Right now, Tyler is working on tailings, but the loader operator is most likely involved. He even traveled to Papua New Guinea, where he encountered people and landscapes that most miners would never venture to encounter. Every journey was filled with extreme weather, genuine peril, and never-ending problem-solving. Parker was clearly more than a child based on these events. He was developing into an adventurer, someone who was prepared to delve deeply into history and human tenacity in addition to the soil. He was pushed harder by each Parker's Trail episode. With bulky equipment strapped to his back, the audience witnessed him battle insects, sleep in tents, traverse rivers, and ascend steep hills. It was tiresome to observe, not to mention survive. But Parker didn't voice any complaints. He moved forward. Every time you learn anything new, gold isn't only found using machines, as demonstrated time and again. It sometimes requires guts, perseverance, and a little old-fashioned bravery. What Parker Schnabel has been up to lately will astound you. Parker doesn't play around. As anyone who has watched Gold Rush knows, he is the type of person who works hard, dives deep, and perseveres through difficult times. However, his recent journey has been everything but typical. For Parker, everything have gotten louder, bigger, and far more confusing. Parker remained locked in, as other miners dealt with sporadic checks, and looked for new ground to dig. He wasn't going to waste any more time because he was focused on the goal. However, fans began to notice an oddity. Parker was appearing less frequently on screen. The man who had been everywhere was now just occasionally seen. People started chatting about that. Was Parker taking a step back? Was he no longer interested? There was much more truth to it. He did not vanish. He simply found himself dragged into a new kind of storm. The amount of effort behind the scenes increased as his mining firm expanded. His plate began to accumulate everything that most people never notice. Parker had to handle all of the paperwork, permits, hiring, payroll, taxes, bank transactions, insurance, regulations, and laws. Although Parker is no longer on screen as often, things are just becoming busier. Let's take a closer look to see how that actually seems. It takes more than just digging to run a gold mine. It becomes a full-fledged business as it begins to grow. Employees are depending on you. You have to abide by certain laws. Bringing a shovel and hoping for the best isn't enough. Parker needed to take on the responsibilities of a true boss. And not only the type that gives instructions, he needed to ensure that the ship remained afloat. That required him to learn stuff he never imagined he would need. It was tiring, dealing with numbers, forms, and plans. Nevertheless, Parker persisted in spite of everything. "I'm still in the game, but in a different way," he assured his supporters. He still has a passion for mining. When the gold starts coming in, he still gets excited. However, he is equally aware that until he grows, the company will not. Making sacrifices is necessary for that. Screen time was one of those compromises. Despite spending less time in front of the camera, he is still putting in a lot of effort behind the scenes. He's creating something more substantial than a single TV season, something that endures. Parker is no longer only looking for gold. His goals include stability, success, and something he can eventually pass on. It's not easy to think like that. Parker, however, has spent enough time in the mud to understand that nothing worthwhile comes without a struggle. As the business expands, Parker is transforming operations. He is aware that no one individual can accomplish everything indefinitely. Work must be divided. Teams must be structured. Roles must be obvious to everyone. That is the proper way to conduct things. Parker is intelligent enough to recognize that. He is a planner in addition to being a diligent worker. He has 10 steps ahead of him. He thanked his colleagues profusely. He must ascend further, doesn't he? Yes, but Parker, this finish must go that way, roughly a foot. He needs to go down since the screen deck is in the way, so it can't. Oh, those who remained at his side, those who came despite the bad weather or the icy ground. Parker is aware that without them, he would not be in his current position. He also didn't overlook the supporters. He also shouted out to them. He wants them to know that he's still out there, pushing, building, and dreaming, even though they might not see him as often on TV. During a Q&A session, a fan asked him what the most challenging aspect of mining was. Parker didn't flinch. "It's because there's only so much gold in the ground," he remarked. "You can't just manufacture more, is it? Everyone in the Yukon wants the few that are available. The goal is the same for all miners. It is difficult because of this. It makes mining a race, a war. You must be quick, intelligent, and fortunate. You could lose a lot if you're not careful. Every day counts. Every step matters, and you might not get another chance if you make a mistake." This type of pressure is dealt with. Digging is not the only thing involved. The goal is to keep ahead of the game, move more quickly, and outsmart the next guy. He gives his team so much because of this. He doesn't sleep as a result. On the surface, mining could appear straightforward. Gold out, dirt in. In actuality, though, it's a challenging problem. Parker had been figuring it out for years. He has discovered that strength alone is insufficient. You must be observant. Planning, adapting, and persevering through setbacks are essential. Parker has remained grounded throughout. He has not allowed wealth or notoriety to alter who he is. What distinguishes him is that he still gets up early, works hard, and cares about doing things correctly. That is the reason his story is worth seeing. His influence is evident even when he is not on film. He isn't trying to get attention. He is striving for greatness. And it requires courage. It requires grit. It requires vision. Parker is creating more than just a profession. To see if it works, we will simply ignite the world. It's nice that we have water. It's good that we have a screen that rattles. One step at a time, one choice at a time, one precious gem at a time. He is creating a legacy. Nothing is certain in the wild world of gold mining. If you can rely on one thing, though, it's that Parker Schnabel won't give up. He never stops searching for the next big thing. The narrative is sustained by constant consideration of how to perform things more effectively, more quickly, and more intelligently. Parker is there in both a quiet office crammed with paperwork and a dirty tunnel in Alaska. He respects the work and isn't scared of it, and he demonstrates that regard in all that he does. He is not merely a child. He is a leader, a thinker, a visionary, and most importantly, a relentless warrior. Whatever the future brings, one thing is certain. The tale of Parker Schnabel is far from ended. The ground can be hard. Maybe the gold is hidden. However, Parker is only beginning. Parker Schnabel has been going through a crazy time lately, let me tell you. And you're in for a shock if you believe that gold mining is all glitter and wealth. Every new level in this guy's life is harder than the last, and the rewards aren't necessarily what you expected. It's like one of those insane video games. Hold on tight, for Parker's story has taken a turn that isn't all sunshine and glittering stones. To begin with, gold mining is hardly the laid-back lifestyle that some people believe. Since he was a little child, Parker has been involved in it. We are discussing a 5-year-old. Parker was out there learning the ropes at his grandfather's mine in Alaska, mining actual dirt, while other children were playing tag or building sandcastles in the backyard. He wasn't merely acting. He meant it. He gained knowledge on how to operate the machinery, read the terrain, and locate potential gold hiding spots. Yes, exactly. The child began working long before most people were aware of the existence of a shovel. He was raised rough, intelligent, and gold-hungry, and the effort paid off. He has extracted gold worth millions of dollars from the earth throughout the years. He is the top dog on Gold Rush, which is understandable. A new issue arose just when everything appeared to be going well, and it's a significant one. Gold depletes more quickly than you might imagine. However, things aren't always ideal. The most difficult thing for Parker is not discovering gold, but rather locating unpicked land. Mining is a one-stop shop once the gold is extracted. The same spot cannot be mined repeatedly. This is a one-time event. Parker is therefore constantly looking for new territory. The issue is that the majority of the valuable land has already been taken. Some of it is just dull, unpolished dirt. Although he has sophisticated equipment to scan the terrain, it still involves some guesswork. He could spend a lot of money establishing a new dig site just to discover nothing at all. Every miner takes that danger, and Parker is all too familiar with it. It takes more than just discovering gold to be a good miner. It all depends on how quickly you locate it, how inexpensive it is to dig up, and how little is wasted in the process. Parker wants to extract as much gold as possible, while spending the least amount of time and money. The game is that. Here's the catch though. He runs out of land more quickly the better he gets. He gets closer to the finish line with each victory. The crazy aspect is that the sooner he digs himself out of business, the better he is at mining. Strange, isn't it? He's exerting a lot of effort merely to close the door. Parker has been amassing gold like a champion, in spite of all the chaos. He has amassed millions of dollars over the years. He has enough money to create the life of his dreams. And he's doing precisely that. He spent about $1 million in a luxurious home in Alaska. We're talking about a large space, a contemporary kitchen, opulent bathrooms, and every cool device you can think of. Compared to the harsh camp life he's accustomed to, this is a significant improvement. After living in trailers, this man now leads an opulent lifestyle. I liked the family and all the most gorgeous gold, the more we got to know them. Yes, I was curious to find out where all of it was coming from. After everything he's put into the work, it's well-deserved. Let's go on to the exciting part. Parker is more than just wealthy. His gruff aura and sharp features make him a bit of a heartthrob. He has been likened to Adam Driver. His diligent, moody appearance is something that admirers adore. He has a lot of admirers and a solid work ethic, in addition to having money in the bank. However, Parker's romantic life has been as difficult as the terrain he traverses. His first significant relationship that fans saw was with Ashley Ewell. She appeared like the ideal fit and was kind and grounded. He even flew her to Alaska to join his mining crew after they first met in Australia. Although it seemed like a fairy tale, things aren't often so simple in real life. It was difficult because of the long hours, demanding work, and constant pressure. After a few seasons, they called it quits. There were only two persons on opposite paths. There were no major altercations. Parker continued to move despite the sting. Another Australian gold prospector with her own television program, Chops, was Tyler Mahoney. In Australia, she joined Parker on one of his spin-off trips. Fans immediately began shipping them. There was definitely chemistry between them. But Tyler is a very private person. Parker was in the center of every frame, and she didn't want her entire existence to be shown on film. Things cooled off before they could get very hot, because of that kind of mismatch. There are no fireworks, but they are still amicable. Sheena Cowell has been the subject of rumors more lately. Fans are constantly looking for hints. And she is part of the mining team. Do they have a romantic relationship? Are they only colleagues? Really, no one knows. Parker isn't the kind to reveal everything. And Fina keeps things under wraps. Nevertheless, it gives the show a hint of mystery. And viewers enjoy making assumptions. All it takes for rumors to spread is one image, one look, or one shared scenario. Here's the real kicker though. Parker is out there creating an empire, while folks are preoccupied with speculating about who he might be dating. Although it may be his primary activity, gold mining is by no means his sole pursuit. He's broadening out, considering new ventures, and keeping the long term in mind. He has even discussed training novice miners and passing on proper mining techniques to the next generation. Parker is not merely a gold prospector. His goal is to mine for the future. His fan base is expanding, his net worth is increasing, and he continues to move forward at full speed. But that doesn't imply that everything is simple. This will aid in dispersing the water, and my hope is that the substance will also be dispersed. However, we must act swiftly, as well as restart the plant. There are dangers associated with each new claim. Parker is aware that time is running out, because every season brings with it new problems. The gold will eventually run out. The machines will age. The terrain will become arid. But for the time being, he is still playing the game, excavating, and fighting. That is the reason he is so powerful. Parker does not give up. He never rests on his laurels. Even when the odds are stacked against him, he never stops searching for the next great haul. Perhaps he strikes it lucky. Perhaps all he hits are rocks. In any case, he continues. And that's what keeps fans interested. People adore Parker. He's genuine, not just because he finds gold. He makes a mistake. He becomes irritated. He chuckles. He becomes enraged. Sometimes he even loses it. However, he never stops. Someone who perseveres in the face of difficulty has a very strong quality. That's the amazing thing about his narrative. The best part is that he's only just beginning. Rumors are circulating regarding upcoming projects, potential new series, and even more significant digs. Parker's next destination could be Africa or South America. Perhaps he will make an investment in technology that revolutionizes the mining industry. Or perhaps he will continue to do what he does best, work hard, and make gold out of dirt. Whatever comes next, one thing is certain. The narrative of Parker Schnabel is far from finished. He's someone worth watching. Whether he's pursuing goals, gold, or simply some peaceful time, he adds a new twist, turn, or incentive to keep his eyes on the screen with each step he takes. The entire globe is now watching this man, who began in the dirt and worked his way up. A rise like that doesn't just happen. It requires guts, perseverance, and a great deal of heart. All three belong to Parker Schnabel. The big question is now, was Parker fortunate or did he deserve his fame? Leave a comment below with your opinions. If you're hooked, hit like and remember to subscribe.